Before we start this video, I suggest you will watch part 1 of this series and do the pre-planning for your own game. In this video I will assume you have at least some knowledge over CSS and JS, but if you don't, the part 1.5 of this tutorial is for that purpose. Okay, so welcome to the next part of this series. We will talk about MVP, which stands for Minimum Viable Product, which is basically what we'll be making now. So it's basically an agile way of handling code. If you for some reason realize that you don't like the approach of your game, then you can easily change it because you've done only like the minimum viable product. So we will not be doing much UI now, basically some basic layout, but nothing too fancy. We'll focus on setting up view and the basic game. So the first thing we need will be index.html. Then we will make our scripts folder, or actually it's called just JS. Oh, this is not a folder. JS, and then make a CSS folder. Fuck. Okay, like that. And then inside the JS folder, we'll just name this like index.js. This will be where our main app will be. And here we will make styles.css. Okay, now I mentioned this in the part 1.5, but you can use Emmet in Visual Studio Code. Basically, when you type doc and press enter, it will generate this document for you, or document base, which is handy, and you can also use it to create elements, whatever you can think of in HTML. So I mentioned my idea earlier, you should now have your idea, but I also thought of the theme. So this game is gonna be called Mobile Money, and the theme will be that you are a company that's made a mobile incremental and you need to make as much money from it as you can. So we'll just, because this title here will be the title of the web page, we'll just type it here. Then we'll need to import our style sheets, and our index.js. Okay, the next thing we will need is actually get view, and that we can get from, we'll just Google view and get started. And where's you can either use this, which will add, you just copy and paste this in your code and now you have view. But what I rather do is download the file and add it to your computer, because then you aren't dependent on their servers. So we'll just go to this address and Control A, Control C, and then we'll make a view.js, paste it here, save, and then we need to import it here. So actually, okay, now we have everything. Then we will need to make our main container, which needs to have an ID. We'll just name it app. And now in our index.js, actually we need to import view before this, I think, so that this is done, imported first. So now we will actually create our app. So you do it you do it like this, if I'm not entirely mistaken. I actually have to check that out to be certain. Yeah, like that. I think it can be const, but for safety, let's make it var. And inside this is an object, and inside this you will need to have data. And here is where you will store all your variables. You will have methods, which will be where your functions will be. And actually in the start you have to tell it the element which will be in which the app will be. So it's ID of app, so we do hashtag app. Okay, the first thing we wanna do is make the initial variables. So for keeping this code clean, this index.js, we'll just make another file for the player. So we will save everything regarding the player to this player object, so we can easily save it. So the player has money, which will be, say, 10 at the start. Then we actually need to figure out the name for that, because there will be 3 columns and we will need to figure out the name for each column. Let's say the first column is marketing, the second column is artists, and the third column is what could it be? Okay, the first column is gonna be marketing, the second column is gonna be artists, and the third is gonna be loot box team. So basically those who make loot boxes. Okay, so marketing is gonna be an empty array because we don't have any producers yet, and artists is gonna be also an empty array, and so it's gonna be loot box team. We also need to always remember to import or these. Okay, so we also need to add, oh, let's not worry about that yet. We need to figure out a way to, like a scheme for these. So we actually, I think we can start with one of these. Let's say it's it has a cost of 10. We don't need cost multiplier because we can derive it from the index of the thing. I actually need to check somewhere the calculations somewhere because I don't remember where I have them. Okay, I got calculations here. So we don't need to worry about the cost multiplier. So next we'll add multiplier, which is going to be 1, and we also need amount, which is going to start at 0, and bot, which is going to start at 0. I don't think we need anything else. Then we'll just player push, player marketing push first marketing. So we'll push this thing here. Alright. Now we have our player object, and we can set in data set player as player because we have it here. Okay, now we need to actually add the components. So we will have our main container. Above that is the money container or currency container. And below that is the producers container. And in the currency container there's gonna be 3 columns, like in producers container. Or actually I think we can have like one main container. Or no, let's do it like this. So here we have our marketing currency. This is gonna be artists currency and loot box loot box team currency. And here we'll have marketing generators artist generators. Let's remove this so it's singular. And loot box team generators. Okay, so now comes the fun part of view. So basically we can, in here, we can make the element for the singular generator. Let's just call it marketing or generator marketing generator. So it's two classes. And in here we can say we for. So this basically loops an array in the data here. So because we have player here, it will be, let's say, for marketing in player marketing. So for each instance in the player marketing array here, it will display this block, and inside this we can actually take data from it, and you can do it with two of these curly boys. So we can display like marketing cost, and now that we check this out, it's in here. So when we actually check this out, we don't see anything but the cost of the first generator, but we can see that there's a cost. And we don't have any errors on the console, so that's beautiful. Oh yeah, we actually need 3 currencies because all of these, or actually Lootbox team didn't have a currency. Let's say artists create graphics, which will be 0 at the start. So marketing currency, you have player money. Let's add them like this. Okay. We should actually now like style these. So currency container is gonna be display flex justify content space between, and let's actually give the root app width of 900 pixels or 950, and this, yeah, okay. So marketing currency, you can select multiple things with comma. Artist currency lootbox team currency with 300 pixels. Let's give them a border of 1 pixel solid black so we see where they are. So currently they look like this. We also need to give this margin auto so it gets centered. Didn't get centered. Let's play around in the console then. Okay, so we need to give the app the margin out. Yeah, that does it. So like that, and then we need to set text line center and padding of say 40 pixels. Yeah, let's add the box sizing border box here so it looks better. Okay, I think actually the marketing generate, no, it's these producer containers will have the same style sheet rules. Was it producers? If actually they are gonna have the same style sheet rules, we could also always like use the same class for all of these, but let's just leave it like that if we actually choose not to for some reason. Actually, let's make these all same. Fuck. So these will be also display flex, but the flex direction will be column, and let's each generator will have a border of 1 pixel solid black. We'll just make them really fucking ugly and worry about the appearance later. Width of 300 pixels and a height of 180, and that's actually quite high. Still a bit high. Yeah, that should do it. And actually let's give these a margin top of 40 pixels, so there's some space. Actually, let's do it simpler. You shouldn't use this, but it's for MVP purposes. I'll fix it later. Actually, let's display amount first. And we also, I actually want to have that these have a name. So the name will be for this, it's marketing, so it will be Facebook ad campaign 1. I will give it this like number. I will be repeating this, so when it repeats I'll just name it 2. So here we'll make a header, and this will have marketing name, then the amount, which actually let's make it its own class. And then we have, let's say, the multiplier. And then the cost. Perhaps we don't actually need this if we just style this accordingly. Cost is this. So now if we check it out, yeah, seems to work. Let's make a generator span. So this means every span under generator will be display block. So it takes the whole width. Okay. Actually, we don't want this to take the whole width. We want these to be on the same row, so we'll just make the cost. Okay. And then we want a button to buy more generators, of course. And in here, we will use the view way of doing click effect. So we'll just say @click equals the click function. So this will actually, I think we need the index of this so we can like buy marketing generator with its index. So buy marketing generator. Let's actually Google how to do indexes in view. View for index. Index. Okay, like this. Index. And pass it index. So then we need to actually do the method. Let g equals player. Actually in view you'd need to say this. If g cost is smaller than this player money, or actually bigger than, then we'll just return so it doesn't go further. And if it's smaller, then we g cost this player money g cost the price multiplier is 1 plus tier, which is I. Tier is 1 here, and for tier 1 I is 0, so I plus 1 times 0.25. So for I of 0 this will be 1.25. Okay. Alright. I think that does it. Now we actually need to this player generators. Actually, yeah, we need to do it here also, because I don't think this will change it. Mount plus equals 1 this player generators I bought plus equals 1. Okay, so let's test it out. We have an error. Cannot read property 0 of undefined. Let's console log I. This is debugging. It's 0. It's not generators, it's marketing. Yeah. If you need to search and replace everything, you can press Ctrl H, and in this top one type the one you need to replace, and then the replacement, and this replaces everything, every one in the document. So now we see that our money went down and our cost went up, and our amounts went up as well. So that worked. Let's create our game loop, and we will do it outside this. So loop.js function game loop. This will take this as a parameter. Let's say it's that. I'm not actually sure if this is the correct way to do it, but I'll do it anyway. Fuck you. So in here we will first generate our currencies. So that player money plus equals that player marketing 0 amount times that player marketing 0 cost mult. Oh yeah, we don't call this yet. So game loop, which will be game loop, fuck this, and we actually need to import the loop. Okay, so now we have our game loop here, and then we'll use another, so we'll use this called mounted, which will be a function, and the mounted will be called when the view is when the page is loaded. It's on view lifecycle. So on mounted we will make a set interval of this game loop and on 50 millisecond interval. So yep, it goes up, and as you see it goes every 50 millisecond interval, it goes up, and we will fix that by using a thing called last update, which will be new date date now. Date now will be the current UTC time in milliseconds. So on loop we'll check the difference between last update and the current time. So let's actually do let difference equals date now minus that player last update, and let's time this by diff, and actually because this will be in milliseconds we need to divide it by 1000, so it's in seconds. So we should get, when you buy one, we should get 1 money per second, and we don't. Because we also need to at the end set that player last update to be date now. So we'll record that the last update happened now. Okay, it works. But we see a little weird things here. So now we need to add a formatting function. Function format. Let's just make this really simple. I made it its own file because this can get quite big. But let's just format. Actually, let's do it here. So we take amount and then we return. I mean, first we need to actually calculate this. I actually did this one in my 1.5, but let's do it again. This will be math floor math log 10 of amount, and this will be amount divided by math pow of 10 to the power, and we will return if power is less than 3, we will return amount to fixed 2, or say 1, and else we will return mantissa to fixed of 2 plus e plus power. And then we will need to, so we can use it in here, we need to give it to the view method. We use as a method, so we'll make also here a format, but we will just call the actual format we made in here. Okay, so then we can format this. And it works like a charm. We also need to format all of these as well, because all numbers are gonna get big. Okay, so we have this, and we can't buy any more if we don't have the money for it. I should actually make this whole container a big button for buying them. But yeah, it seems to work. Yep. Let's make it. Let's just copy this here and put it here. Fix the indentation. This will be artist generator, player artists. And root box team generator in root box team, and artist root box team. Okay, and then we need to change all of these by artist generator, and in here also by root box team generator. And we need to copy this and paste it a couple of times, and artist generator artists. Let's remove the console log here. And loot box team. box team. Okay, no errors, good. Then we need to create the plus buttons which will add more of these. But I think this video has been long enough, so this was less of an MVP and more of view introduction. But we have somewhat working game. Our numbers go up. But that's all for today, and remember to eat ass and prosper. Bye!